I, 36 female, have been no contact with my narcissistic, emotionally toxic parents for a year now. I changed my number ages ago, but someone gave them my new number as they recently attempted to contact me. I'm only in touch with 4 mutuals: my sister, my aunt, a childhood friend and a cousin, who's not the child of the aunt in question. Before I changed my number again, I wanted to trap the rat, tell each one of them a lie, and see which one gets back to my parents, before changing my number so I don't accidentally give it to the rat. Remember, these are all lies. I told my sister I'm having an affair, warned husband of this ahead of time, he's in on it, told my aunt I think I might be a lesbian, parents are very homophobic, told childhood friend I think I'm pregnant, and told my cousin I'm moving back to my hometown, near where my parents live, for a job. Didn't take long. 3 days later I got a text from Mom about how excited she was. I'm moving back and it was the perfect time to bury the hatchet. Cousin. Busted. I had changed my phone number and cut off contact with my cousin and gave the other 3 my new number and told them the situation, that these were all lies and I had to catch the rat to see who was giving info to my parents. My aunt and childhood friend understood, but my sister, while she wasn't the rat and never told her parents, thinks I went too far and is upset with me for lying to her and is insulted that I would think she'd betray my confidence. I told her I had to do this to protect myself from people who were leaking information. Am I the idiot for temporarily lying to family and friends to trap an enabler? Not the idiot. I think this was brilliant. You could tell your sister that you're sorry she was hurt, you'd be too in her position, but what would she have done to trap the rat? I hope she gets over this. I get the sting of it, but come on. Lie about something that isn't so horrible. Lie to one person at a time. You are the idiot, OP. You caused stress to your sister by saying you were having an affair. If my sister told me this, I wouldn't sleep for days. She didn't deserve that. She had to think about if she wanted to continue to associate with a cheater. Suppose she wants to tell your husband. The lies had to be juicy enough to be worth passing on. Doing it one person at a time, maybe. Starting with the person you suspect most. That takes longer though. Just imagine the alternate timeline where your parents found out you were moving back home due to your husband kicking out because of the lesbian affair you had, but you were still pregnant with his child. Ooh boy, I'd watch that show. However, OP, I have to put myself into your sister's shoes, and I understand why she's hurt by the fact that you considered her a suspect. Also, it's not that you told a lie, it's the specific lie. Telling her about an affair forces her into the moral dilemma of telling your husband and feeling bad for telling or not telling him and feeling bad for lying to him. Doesn't matter if there is no affair, to her the dilemma is real. All other lies had no real impact on the other persons. Everyone's the idiot here, and the fact that you don't seem to recognize that this is kind of bonkers and pot-stirring on its own is concerning. And apart from that, I'd think you'd be able to distinguish who you'd want around without this massive cloak and dagger construct behind it to some extent. So choosing this alienating grand dramatic approach is crummy, especially because it caused your sister harm and now minimize it. I'd honestly call what you did emotionally abusive all on its own with the lies and the manipulation. You owe her a sincere apology because you handled all of this really, really poorly. My brother and his wife just had a baby. Me and my wife had bought them a set of baby monitors that we use when each of our kids were babies. They seemed happy with our gift at the time and nothing was amiss. However, they're not using it. The baby monitor that they're using is the old kind. I noticed when my brother showed me the nursery, there's no video or Wi-Fi capability like the one we gave them. When I confronted my brother, he said it was a nice thought, but they were uncomfortable with the idea of a video and Wi-Fi for security reasons. Just before my niece was born, they moved out of their flat and bought a house, and now that my brother said it, I noticed they don't have any smart, Wi-Fi capable appliances or even a Ring camera. Both of them do have cell phones, and they also have work ones, but my brother said they use data for all 4 of those. Otherwise, they don't have Wi-Fi and have set up 2 cables so their laptops can have internet. He said they don't want anything in their home that could be hacked or exploited when it comes to security, especially when it comes to my niece. He compared a Wi-Fi capable baby monitor to him and my sister-in-law, choosing not to have social media or allow anything about my niece to be put online by themselves or anyone else. Am I the idiot for feeling offended that they aren't using the gift we gave them? My wife feels the same way. My brother is a prosecutor and my sister-in-law works child welfare, so I feel like they're just projecting here and overreacting to something that's harmless. It's causing tension between me and my brother because we took the time to give a gift that was not only thoughtful, but also not cheap. It's also meant to make things more convenient for him and my sister-in-law. You are the idiot. You bought them a gift that you thought they needed instead of asking them what they needed. There are many reasons why people don't use Wi-Fi video monitors for their baby, and all of them are justified as personal preference. You seem to take their preferences as a personal judgment against you. It's not, and stop making their lifestyle about you. Next time, stick to the registry or ask before spending a lot of money. I also refuse to use a Wi-Fi monitor. I'm a nanny, and so many of us reported having strange people talking to us or our kids through the monitor because they were being easily hacked. So I totally understand their hesitancy to use a Wi-Fi one. I use a video monitor that requires proximity to the camera rather than connecting to Wi-Fi, and it works great. I'm a former IT security person, and I won't have any Wi-Fi appliances in my house. It's a major threat to your peace of mind. OP, you can't be offended when someone doesn't use a gift that they had no involvement in choosing. Now be a considerate brother and give them the receipt for your expensive gift so that they can get something they need or want. My parents called for a family meeting last Sunday and said they were realizing that we didn't have the happy little tight-knit family they'd expected to have. They expressed that we'd all been closer when we were little kids. For context, it's me, male teen, my brother James, younger teen, and my other brother Easton, tween. But now it felt like we never spent time as brothers, especially James and I, and that sharing a room they would have expected more from us. My parents said they wanted us to be totally open and honest about how we felt and to express if we had any issues with the family to get out of the way. They said they weren't going to take a turn until after the three of us spoke first, and we couldn't leave until we opened up and said everything. I told them I felt they had somewhat unrealistic goals, that they ignored some stuff that had been mentioned to them in the past that would have made the lack of closeness less of a surprise, and that it was weird for them to pretend they had no idea of anything going on. I admitted that I hated sharing a room with James, that personality-wise he and I clash and he relies too much on being the younger brother and getting his own way, which annoys me. I said I'd told them this before. James will set up these sleepover nights for him and me on the floor, and he'll expect me to play football outside with him until it's close to midnight, and then go in and watch movies that bore me to tears and sleep in our sleeping bags instead of our beds. I said he started insisting we do things he enjoyed when we were like 8 and 10, and ever since that point, hanging out with him has not been fun for me. It hasn't made me feel closer to him. I admitted that I'd rather share with Easton. I also said that I brought this stuff to my parents' attention before and even complained when he was messing up my side of the room and left me to clean up, which my parents expected me to do instead of him. I also mentioned that I hate hanging out with his friends, with whom I have nothing in common. I told my parents they overlooked James being mean to Easton. It might be due to jealousy and resentment that I'm closer to Easton, or it might be due to Easton being the youngest, but they would never let me say to James what James can say to Easton. I also said they treat us like we're little kids. They'll tell us to hang out with much younger kids and do their activities at family houses, and they'll tell us no video games until we play outside, and that even after all these years of knowing me, they still can't accept that I don't like sports and it's not my idea of fun to kick a ball or run around, and it never has been. James was upset about the stuff I said about him, especially about not wanting to hang out with him and his friends. My parents were furious with me and said I had no right to say all that. I said I was doing what they asked, and they said that wasn't what they asked for. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your parents didn't think this through. You did, though. If you had a therapist in the room, they would have applauded you for getting to the heart of the matter as long as you weren't gratuitously cruel to your middle bro in how you said it, such as by name-calling, contemptuous looks, etc. You deserved an A+ here. You understood the assignment perfectly and were open and honest. Parents, tell us everything and be honest, and you're not leaving until you do. OP leaves it on the table. Parents, how dare you tell us all that in that way? Also, you're grounded for being honest. Ugh, maybe they shouldn't be asking questions they don't want honest answers to. Your parents were fools to think a conversation like that would ever go well. I guess just pretending you were one big happy family, you were supposed to lie to preserve the illusion. They are entirely wrong for being upset with you. Truth hurts sometimes. Sorry, your parents suck. You are the idiot, my dude. This isn't James's fault. If he really is the golden child, he's been messed up by your parents. And if it's more so a personality clash, as you said, then hey, he's a young teen and they are annoying. And I hate to break it to you, OP, but 10 years from now, you'll think kids your age are annoying too. Your parents are the ones who need to adjust here. It's not right for them to put all this stress on your relationships with your brothers. And in fact, their doing so will probably result in a bigger wedge being driven between you and James. He's still a kid, and the relationship is definitely salvageable. I'm 56 and just finalizing my will. I have 2 children, Jack and Marge. Marge is disabled and can't look after herself. My wife and I take care of her at the moment. Our biggest worry is that when we die, she won't be taken care of. Our family has a good amount of money. It's enough that you could probably get by without working for the rest of your life and still have money left over. We're very fortunate and just got lucky for a lot of things. We bought cheap houses long ago, and they're now worth a ton due to the location. We made our will that Jack would only get the money if he took care of her. We can't be sure he won't take off with the money alone. If he doesn't care for her, he doesn't get the money and it will go to my nephew who has the same condition. We have a few other backups, but I know my nephew would do it if my son didn't. It came up today asking what will happen to Marge when we die, and I explained that I didn't want to lie and have it be a shock when we're dead. My son is angry and the family is split, so I came here. We looked into a trust, but it's not a safe option. There's a huge chance the money can be taken from her due to the laws surrounding it. We're not in the USA. We've spoken with multiple lawyers already. You are the idiot. It's not his responsibility to look after his sister. It's your responsibility to seek out proper care for her prior to your passing without forcing it upon the family and put that in the will. For the record, people who are forced into caring for those who are disabled and have no interest in doing so are likely to get extremely stressed and depressed, and it can lead to them abusing or neglecting the disabled person. I laughed because OP says they can't be sure their son won't take off with the money and leave his sister without care, but they think he will take care of her on his own if they just leave him an inheritance. And you're sure your nephew is going to take great care of your daughter and not dump her and run, are you? Right, that struck me too. Why are you so sure your nephew will actually do what you say and take proper care of her? Split the inheritance 50-50, or heck, 40-60 or whatever, but take the daughter's portion and put the daughter in a facility that can take care of her, and put in the will that your son has to visit and check on her frequently. But forcing people with no medical or hospital or care training to take care of someone indefinitely for their inheritance is manipulative and will likely lead to resentment. You are the idiot, OP. Congrats, you just 100% showed your son he's nothing but his sister's potential caretaker to you. You can do what you like, but it seems crappy to tie an inheritance to his deciding to be a caregiver. My bet is that for much of his life she was the one who got a lot of attention, and now, even in death, you'll be putting her first. Update, I talked to my nephew and this isn't an issue anymore. He wants to take over, so we will switch the order. He will take care of our daughter and get the inheritance. Now my son doesn't have to choose. My 23 female mom passed away 2 months ago, and my fiancé and I quickly became the sole guardians of my 3 younger siblings, teen, younger teen and tween. As much as I love my mom, I know how hard it was growing up under her and how we didn't have a lot, so when I left for college, I did feel guilty leaving my siblings there, knowing they wouldn't have much, but I did so for this very reason, so that I could make enough money to get a house that allowed me to house all of them if needed. They understood why I'd chosen to go away to college and didn't resent me for leaving them there, which I'm so grateful for. Although I'm in the position where my siblings can stay with me for however long they need to, I won't lie and say things haven't been hard, especially financially wise. I went from caring for myself, my fiancé and our 2 dogs, to caring for, clothing, housing and feeding 3 children who need stability. It was such a shocking flip to my world, and I'm just trying my best to do what's best for my siblings. However, one thing that 3 teenagers can do is eat. And I fully understand that we grew up in a household where we could have food one week and then be home dry the next 2 weeks, so we never truly knew whether we'd eat a full meal again outside of school. Yet that is not a worry my siblings have had to face here. It takes some saving and budgeting, but my fiancé and I have devised a way to spend $1,400 a month to fully stock up the house. I've had small conversations about my siblings needing to be considerate of everyone in the house when it's regarding food, and telling them to take what makes them full and leave enough for others to be full as well. I understand the resources guarding mindset is very hard to get out of. I really do, but what else can I do? Things got bad when my fiancé and I went grocery shopping at Costco on Thursday, and we usually buy a few snacks for the kids to snack on or take to school. We woke up Friday morning, and within less than 24 hours, all of the chocolate chip cookies were gone, and they came in a pack of like 50. I called everyone down and explained to them that I would never restrict access to any food from them. However, they needed to be 100% considerate of everyone else in the house who also needed to have access to the same food and snacks as them. I told them that we were going to start learning about portion control and saving food for others, and they all said that they understood and that this was the gist of it all. The reason I'm asking if I'm the idiot is that I went to my group for other people who have the same situation as me and talked about it, and another group member told me that I was a terrible person by controlling what they ate and that I was going to give them an eating disorder. I'm absolutely not trying to control their eating habits, I'm just trying to make sure everyone eats. Am I the idiot? If I am, I will absolutely apologize to them and find ways to help. Not the idiot, and maybe you can reach out to the nearest food bank and supplement the food that you buy. Teenagers are very expensive to feed. Use the resources in your community to help. I donate regularly to my local food bank because I want people in my community not to have to worry about feeding their families. Families like yours are exactly why I donate. Mate, these kids don't need more food. Yes, kids who are growing up eat a lot of food, but no one of sound mind eats 15 to 20 cookies in the span of 12 hours. And it's not just one of them. From your description, they each did this. OP, you're doing a good thing here in taking in your siblings. No, you won't give them an eating disorder if you implement your plan. Unfortunately, you're out of your depth. Their brains have been wired to worry about food constantly, and just giving them more isn't going to magically fix it. There's a physiological problem that needs to be addressed. The fact it's in the brain rather than a broken toe or a tumor doesn't make it any less real. They need therapy.